I've never been to San Sebastian. It's up in the mountains. But this place, I'm really digging it. They did a nice job taking care of this. Look at that. That's the history museum. Of course, it's closed today. You know, it's Easter, but dang, I would come back to visit that. Beautiful. Okay, September 4th, 1868. This was where a revolution in Puerto Rico began, which you can see on these murals. At that time, you know, there was slave labor, but there was also just basically indentured servants. And they decided, listen, we want to break free, and we want a place for all Spanish and non-Spanish speakers, you know, and we're not ruled by Spain anymore. So they began to get together, began to talk, and they decided to have an insurrection. And they had that and declared themselves, you know, the Republic of Puerto Rico. That's what they decided to call themselves. Well, this was done way up in the mountains. So, you know, most of the soldiers are over in San Juan, which is on the coast. So these guys were kind of far away from everything. And, you know, for a while, I guess things looked pretty good. But Spain wasn't going to allow that to happen. So, of course, they came up and the fighting began over in Lares, which is a neighboring town about 6 miles away. And, of course, here is where the fighting really you know, basically, from what I can tell, my dealing with my Spanish wasn't that great, but they lost, and they did not get their freedom. And eventually, they became part of the U.S. territory after the Spanish-American Civil War. But a really neat mural here that painted the picture of this, and it's and then of course it's written out, so really, really nice. Enjoyed this. And once again, good morning and welcome to another early morning record show. And Andy Warhol say, hey, thanks for coming. Big day, big day. My son gets married today, Paul. So I'm down, it's a state park in Illinois called Starved Rock State Park. That's where they're getting married at. So instead of birth, marriage, and death, we're going to have birth, records, and death. It's kind of celebrating it the right way, isn't it? I guess, you know. Records is like a marriage. You kind of get married to that collection, and that collection can cost you a lot of money, just like marriage. So I guess there are a lot of similarities. So I had, you know, do some speeches and stuff like that. I'm doing this before we've been in Chicago, but I know I had a fabulous time in Chicago. I know that we ran around like chickens with our heads cut off and didn't have much time. I just know it was nuts. So, but I'm sure we had fun. No doubt about it. And I'm sure the weather was cold in Chicago because Chicago's so unpredictable, kind of like up here, but hey, it's the way it is. But let's begin with the records. I'm gonna try and do 8. I've never done. I'm kind of a 7 person, and I run out of time. But let's see what happens. First one, I received this from Vinyl Richie. Los Bichos. And I'd been looking at it. Let the festivities begin, and this came out this year. On this album, someone. Vinyl Richie had shown it. I said, man, that looks really cool. I like that. Someone else had shown it, and I go, God, really, I'm planning to buy this. I just haven't got around to it. Well, Vinyl Richie got 2 of them. I thought I was the only one out there buying 2, but you know, as you get older, you tend to do that. You pre-order something, and then you pre-order it again, and it's like, oh man. I mean, I've done that a few times now, and I'm sure it's going to keep happening. So he had an action. He says, hey, let me just send that to you. So most appreciative, really huge thank you. Comes with a
I was going to say a lyric sheet, but there are no lyrics. This is just dedicated, you know, I say, or it's about what the songs are about, which is really kind of nice because it is an instrumental album. So it's on black vinyl. That's what the label looks like. So Los Bichos formed. It's a London-based band, but what makes it really, you can't say it's an English band because one member's from Australia, one is from Sweden, one is from the UK, and one is from Uruguay. You know, and there's a country you just don't get to say a lot, Uruguay. Kind of fun. Actually, it's a great place. A lot of Americans retire in Uruguay. It's a fairly safe country down there. The music, you know, again, it's instrumental. It's surf rock, but it's much more. It's filled with Latin rhythms on there. There's tinges of Turkish psych, and of course, then 60s surf. And you know what really strikes you is the fact of this Latin type flair. They use a guitar. Not guitar, a guitar, which is more of a South American, Central American, Latin type guitar. And it gives out a certain sound, and you really hear this. But you also hear this Cumbria beat that you will hear in so many of the albums from South America, especially out of Colombia. Huge there. And so you have that feel in this. You have the percussion, the more of a Latin percussion happening. Really makes this interesting. They formed in 2017, and it's just they just have a great groove that goes on. Every song, it's under 4 minutes long. And just what a fun, great listen. Very much enjoyed this album, and so thank you so much, Vinyl Richie, for sending this my way. Most appreciative. Really liked it. Speaking Vinyl Richie, Minutemen. This is an original off the wonderful SST label that they were a big part of. There it is. Minutemen, LA punk. This album's fast. This is their second EP. It's 45 RPM. It is an EP, and they pack 18 songs onto it. 18. It's almost as if they took a bunch of fragments and put it together. You know, a little this, a little that. I'll just make that into a song, but it works and it's fine. We have here SST. Don't pay more than $6.99. Isn't that great? $6.98. Well, some $5.99. I guarantee it costs a lot more than that now. This is just it's fun. It's fast. There's full of the songs are jaunty. It's just kind of boom 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 done boom 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 done, and it's just your typical hardcore punk coming out from one of the best groups, the Minutemen. They were not at their prime yet. In fact, here's all the lyrics. Can you believe that? That's 18 songs, folks. That's all the lyrics. But they weren't at their prime. They're getting themselves. They're learning what they're doing. Their songcraft, figuring out what they want to do. But this is just exciting to see this. I got this at my local store here, Radio Wasteland, part of his famous punk collection that I have shown for the last year. I had just another of these fine pickups that I was able to get. So the Minutemen, and the name of the album is The Punchline. I should tell you that. The Punchline. It is full of punchy songs, I will say that. this album, the Ngozi family. Holy smokes. This is Day of Judgment. Came out in 1976, I believe. This is heavy Zamrock. I mean, we're talking heavy. The recording is, it's not the best, but I mean, it's out of Zambia. You get what you get. And why I say it's not the best, the bass and drums are kind of buried a little bit. The guitar is really out front. Vocals, it's okay. You know, Paul Ngozi, but yeah, he's not the best vocalist, but yet it works. It sounds great. This album, it's filled, and I mean packed with fuzzed out guitars, incessant drumming. There is these chugging riffs that are happening. It is so you could tell what they were listening to. They were listening to Black Sabbath. A lot of Black Sabbath. But also there's Stooges feel and the band Death. And if you know, that was it really feels like if you listen to Death, you know, which is out of Detroit, an African American kind of almost like a punk band before punk. Very, very similar. This thing is, I mean, it's heavy. These songs, they're about love and about a higher power. So you have these dark kind of riffs coming, but they're singing about love and higher power, which was a lot of Zamrock. Zamrock isn't known necessarily to be political, and it was at the times where the government wasn't going to allow it. I mean, Nigeria they didn't allow, but Fela Kuti just kind of flipped them the finger, which is why he was constantly being raided and beat up by the government. He just said, screw you. These were younger kids. They just they weren't doing that. But this is really good. I mean, heavy, baby. I think it might be their third album. I think it might be. I am not sure, but really good stuff. I just totally love this thing. When you'll hear the play, it's like, man, pretty dang cool. Then the Ngozi family is one of those classic Zamrock groups, and they really made some great stuff. You know, I think of the Ngozi family, and there's one other that I would say I think of, but obviously I'm not, because it's not suddenly. It just went out of Fiji. That's it. But good stuff. Good stuff. And it's not Analog Africa. You know what? You can still buy this. You can find it out there. It does not cost a lot, but it's a cool entry point into the world of Zamrock.
I'm gonna get down. I'm gonna show you people that me, I'm a heavy Christian. I'm gonna blow everything up. I'm gonna not get hell. Everything's gonna be alright.
These two, and I can't. One of you out there in YouTube land said, Steve, have you ever listened to Here Lie Man? And I hadn't. Now, I get lots of suggestions, and I've mentioned that before, and I try to listen to them. It's just, money is money. I can't do them all. But I tried this album. Not only did I listen to one, I did two, and I go, God, I really like that. So why buy just one when you can buy two? So Here Lie Man, they've done 3 albums. They're out of LA, formed in 2016. It's a mix of, there's the label, you can see that. I think the inner sleeves are nothing. The music, it's a mix of heavy fuzz. There's Afrobeat. you could probably even say some art rock would be part of this. It draws, what the drummer on here is named Jeff Mann. It's the son of Herbie Mann, which was very interesting. And Marcos Garcia, I believe. Marcos Garcia, the vocalist and the plays the guitar. He had an Afrobeat band before this called Antiblis. Now, they call themselves a quintet and on here, but they only have 3 people listed on this one, and one is congas and percussion. So you could see we have an Afrobeat Latin type rhythm section happening, and you can really hear this. This is the first album. So this one came out in 2017. They formed in 2016. 2017 they put out the first one. This is filled with hard rocking fuzzy guitars. It's intense music, and just, I mean, but it's danceable, and that's the kind of cool part. You know, I really like music that's danceable. You know, it just makes you want to get up out of your chair. It wasn't like I ever go dancing, but I love it. Well, okay, yeah. Dancing with myself. I'm gonna just dance in with myself. Me and Billy Idol, maybe. So that's what you get. So this is their first one. Their next one was this one. Here Lies Man. You Will Know Nothing. You Will Know Nothing. And the label, again, nothing really special on this. I guess get the kid on there. So, hey, we got children here. So we got children albums. This came out in 2018, I believe. There's a little more Sabbathy feel on this, but also Afro pop. Some of the songs are quieter also. I think there's more quiet songs on this than this one. But the guitars, when they're harder, they are harder on this. And some really rockin' playing going on. Just really, really neat album. And it's such a juxtaposition where it looks like the young Edgar Winter kids. I mean, the young Winter, you know, Edgar and Johnny Winter, and then this this young African child. I mean, with just the coloring, just amazing, isn't it? Very, very cool artwork, I think, on this. So cool stuff from the group Here Lies Man. They have a third album that I do not have. One sec, we're parched. Okay. We got Gil Scott-Heron and Brian Jackson from South America to South Carolina. This album came out in 1975. This was Gil Scott-Heron working with Brian Jackson. Those two really made some great music together. Very political music on the Arista label. That's nice. You don't see that kind of a cover. At least I don't a lot. Don't notice that much out here. These Brian Jackson, you know, with his collaboration, you have, it's like a fusion of jazz, blues, and soul. And very political, which is what makes this album pretty exciting. There's a single on here, Johannesburg, And it became the rally cry of ending apartheid. Super important. He has another kind of a hit song, A Lonely Day. You know, side one is about South Africa. Side two, he starts off with South Carolina. You know where that's going. Right? We're talking about apartheid. Side two, let's talk about what we got going on in the United States. And so, you know, Gil Scott-Heron is a poet, but he puts his stuff to music. Is he the greatest vocalist in the world? No. But does he have great things to say? He sure does. And they put it together really well. I love the stuff that he did with Brian Jackson, and this is just great. I should open it this way so you could see how it works together. There you go. The gorilla's holding South Africa and South Carolina, which kind of says it all. You know, rap really have used a lot of the licks from him. He was kind of one of the originators of rap, you could say. Not thinking of it as rap, just how he was putting out his poetry. So I just happened to see this thing. Actually, I bought it from somebody. And very happy to have it. Really good. It's my second album from him. Good stuff. A little blues, John Lee Hooker. Never go wrong. John Lee Hooker. This is Alone in 1970. Now in 76, Hooker did another album called Alone, but that was a live album. This album deals with a bunch of singles that were found that he recorded between 48 and 51. And I think it was off a specialty, as a matter of fact, which this is a specialty record, which they would then be trying to cash in on John Lee Hooker. It is, there's no piano, there's no sax, there's really no drums, because John Lee Hooker was with his finger. Look at that, I started bouncing the floor there, my the old phone dropped down. So you have these songs that were previously unreleased. Yeah, back in 1970, we were doing our previously unreleased things, and they come out. You know, he was just take that 12 bars, and you know, playing the, you know, like a 12 bar, and he just change it up all the time. Musicians struggled playing with John Lee Hooker because he just changed the speed. He changed the time signatures as he's going. It was all about his feel. He wasn't a professional at this stuff, but you know, he knew how he wanted it. He could hear it, and so musicians were always struggling to keep up with him. This is a lot more stripped down, but sounds great. Very, very enjoyable listen. Some of the stuff is similar to what his hits were, which would often happen. You know, you get boom, boom, boom. Well, yeah, wow, that was really good. Let's make Boom, Boom, Boom Part 2. And so we take a lot of the same riffs and use them into another song. But so interesting stuff. You know, John Lee Hooker has 1 million albums out there. Most comps, because people just kept taking his stuff from all the different labels he was on and putting out crap. So, good stuff.
Lord, I knew my new woman, she got a job in town. When that train rolled up, I'll come walking out.
Mark Mad for Vinyl sent me this, and I really have not ever had much Billy Preston. I know Billy Preston, I've seen this, but I've never really thought about him. And so Mark sent me this. Look at this wonderful inner sleeve. Isn't that beautiful. This is just a wonderful copy of this. And it is a white label promo for those that get super excited about those things. And so this is called The Kids and Me. Oh, wow. I had an album with a couple kids. Now I got this with a couple kids. Does that make me creepy Uncle Steve? I don't know. Chris, Bluesman, Vinyl. you can answer that. The Kids and Me. This came out in 1974. I just had done my 74 thing, and this probably should have been on there. This is good. Now, Billy Preston was born in 46. He died in 2006. You know, top session player in the 60s. Obviously, if you watch that Beatles documentary, you saw how important he was on the making of Let It Be. I just found his part fascinating. Billy Preston was a child prodigy, but he never had a piano lesson. Never. He learned it himself. He just sat band playing, very, very young, band playing, and it just, music came to him. By age 10, he was playing organ. He was backing up for Mahalia Jackson. That's how good he was. In 69, he was signed to Apple Records, then A&M or Arista, I believe. Arista signed him in 71. And so this album's his 10th album. And this has just that wonderful hit on here. Nothing from nothing makes nothing. You gotta have something if you want to be with me. Love that song. And I didn't realize that. But the thing is, there are so many funky songs on here. It is just incredible. I'm playing you one from John the Baptist. And it's like funk gospel. It is just powerful. There's St. Elmo, funky soul music. The song You Are So Beautiful's on here. He didn't have the hit off it. Joe Cocker took that and made it his own. Just this thing is wonderful. Just what a wonderful album that I'd never listened to. Shame on me, because I really missed out on just a funky album. So good. Exciting to have this thing. So Mark, thank you. Finally here, just real quick, from the famous punk collection, So Indie It Hurts. So Indie It Hurts, Roar Rocks Volume 1. It's from this Roar label, and I guess that's how Roar. It's punk. These are live cuts from these bands. And there we go. So Indie It Hurts, kind of a cool label. And so it's a variety of bands. You have Bad Brains, Flipper, Styrene, The Dickies, Johnny Thunder, MC5, The Dictators, John Change and the Contortions, and just some of their stuff that was done live. And it's put on here. Just another fun punk compilation. How can you go wrong? That's it. Hey, we did it. We did 8 albums. See, if I don't have a bunch of crap in the front. I don't even know what I showed at the beginning, whatever my montage was. You might have been Puerto Rico, might have been Chicago. Who the hell knows? But I'm really glad that you joined me today, and I appreciate that. So, looking forward. Going to start driving home. Oh, what? The wedding's today. The wedding's today. So, mazel tov to my son. You know, it's a Jewish Lutheran wedding. So I can say now, I've never been to one, a Jewish wedding, so I can now say mazel tov. So I'm kind of excited about that. I think you say that at a wedding, right? I actually have a schedule. They an agenda that I've yet to read, but I'll get to it. Enjoy your week, everyone. I know I'm going to be. All my kids are married now. Bye.